Hello, everybody. We are about to begin Jerry Friday. Let me figure out this thing here. Oh, the chat still sucks. Four 13. All right. Why is it so bright? Do. All right. I guess we are ready to go. I think. Is there something I'm forgetting? I feel like there's something I'm forgetting. But F it. Let's roll.
I'm the captain of a ship or an astronaut in space, traveling around the world and searching for a pretty face. I've been looking on high, checking below the lows, but the only thing I find is myself still alone. I've been searching for you, have you been searching for me? I've been running around and now I'm down on my knees. I go looking abroad, I've been sailing the sea. I go looking for love, but is it looking for me? But every time I find somebody who looks like she may be that one, the kind of woman who inspires a man to stop his traveling around. I'm the captain of a ship or an astronaut in space, traveling the universe and searching for a pretty face. I've been looking on high, checking below the lows, but the only thing I find is myself still alone. But every time I find somebody who looks like she may be that one, the kind of woman who inspires a man to stop his traveling around. I've been searching for you, have you been searching for me? I've been running around and now I'm down on my knees. I go looking abroad, I've been sailing the sea. I go looking for love, but is it looking for me? I go looking for love, but is it looking for me? I go looking for love, but is it looking for me? Look up, a big sticky bowl of Toastio. Hell, nothing much else to do. I went and ate him in the living room. Took on the tube and watched Captain Kangaroo. Well, you know, life's full of circumstances and chances.
I'm seeing
We'll never take.
a confectioner past his prime,
Could've taken
saddled with gambling debts,
but every time I do,
betting on one last batch to make him the money he needs to get his family in the clear. He works all night trying to make sure that it's so sweet all the kids will run from all around to make sure that they get a piece of his butter toffee. That's what's in my K-Cup this morning, ladies and gentlemen, butter toffee. And you are joining me on yet another edition of Jury Friday. Welcome, friends. My name is Justin Robert Young. Thank you all for coming back for yet another week of this nonsense experiment where really it's whatever I want to talk about. And this week I have a lot to talk about, which is like most any week. I really kind of always have something to talk about because I really like to hear myself talk. And thankfully, there's an audience on Fridays that wants to hear me prattle on like I'm some sort of weirdo. This week on the show, boy howdy, do we have a whole ton of stuff to talk about. We'll talk about the end of Game On. Game On is over. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about why voting is overrated. We'll talk about all the summer movie draft. We have really, I'll tell you why. This week, we will know if Scott Johnson's done. In fact, by tomorrow, we'll know if Scott Johnson is done with the movie draft. He could be over. This could be, in the words of my friend Anthony Caruso, he could be finito, which is a fake word, but it sounds so great that I love to say it all the time. Also, huge news in our political horse race bets, and, of course, rapid fire at the end of the show. But let's start off. Let's start with an ending. Why don't we? Last week I came on this very show, and I talked to you guys about Game On and the fact that Game On was canceled. Since that time, Game On did its final show. We prepared a lot for it. I think I teased at the on this show and on the morning stream that there would be a surprise ending, and the surprise ending was we had a really fun cameo by Morgan Webb of X-Play. So for anybody who said, Game On, it's just another X-Play, I thought that was going to be really, really, really fun, and I think it did. And basically the ending, if you hadn't seen it, you can go check it out on YouTube, but it was Max Trollbot waking up from a dream, and Morgan Webb, like as if, they're getting ready, she's getting ready for work in the morning, is brushing her teeth, and it's like, honey, everything okay? And he says, yes, I just had the most boring dream, Veronica. Which is funny because he always called Veronica other names, specifically Felicia Day, and so Morgan Webb is Veronica. I thought it was funny. But here's what happened. We are all set to do this Viking funeral of a show on Sunday. Leo was at the studio, as was Lisa, the executive producers of Game On. And all of a sudden, I'll put it in this perspective. If anybody watched the show live, the way that you saw it was you're watching them about to begin the show. It's an emotionally charged atmosphere. And then all of a sudden, Leo tweets out, if the show gets 50,000 downloads, he will save it. Now, if you're thinking, like some did, that this was some sort of ploy to get people to download the show, either the entire cancellation process or just that weekend, you are wrong. In fact, the reality is, the way that you saw that tweet is the way that I saw that tweet, is the way that Brian and Veronica heard about that tweet, because they weren't obviously on Twitter. They were about to get on and do the show. So now we're put in a weird position, because we didn't know we had a chance to save the show. If we knew we had a chance to save the show, we would have been going all out. If the point was, on Wednesday we were told, listen, this show is costing us a ton of money, and if we don't get a dramatic rise in viewers, like we're talking, we need to get 50,000, like this week, not any week, this week, not in 4 weeks, this week, not in 6 weeks, this week. If we were told that, then we would have gone all out. We would have called in every favor we possibly could. We would have absolutely, put on the Ritz, as is said. But we didn't know that, and all of a sudden we had that kind of put out there, and we did our best. I think we did a very good show. We did a show I'm proud of. I'm proud of all the shows that we did. I wasn't necessarily happy with the quality of some of the shows early on, but I was very, very proud of all of them, and I was very happy and proud with the last 5 weeks. But that was hard, the 50,000 thing. What wasn't hard is watching everybody react to it. That was very heartening. For what had been an emotional roller coaster, the idea that everybody would be so reactive to it, that everybody would really treat it as a rallying cry, that excited me. That really, really did. To be honest with you, I told Brian, and I think I might have said it here last week, or I might have said it on NSFW show this week. Now, the one thing we didn't know between me and Brian is how Chat Realm reacts to death. And boy, howdy, did we figure that out this week. Chat Realm really, really, really went the extra mile. Shout out specifically to Bill Meeks. Bill Meeks really took it upon himself to get out on the Reddit gaming forum and spread the word. I feel like we were getting the word out there. I'll give you a little inside sauce. As of yesterday, I was texted by my sources inside Twit. I have sources inside Twit who tell me that as of yesterday, the latest numbers on Thursday, which is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 4 days into the release, we had 23,700. It wasn't Chad, by the way. People are saying Chad. It wasn't Chad. Somebody else inside Twit. 23,700. 4 days into release. Which is good. Good number. Not a 50,000 number. But a good number. A number to grow on. If we were still doing the show and we were still promoting it and we were still out there, we could possibly look at on a 6-week timeline as a 40,000 number. FLS Carnage, Leo tweeted that. No, Leo tweeted that we had 21,000. We have 23,700. So there is a slight difference. Not a lot. A couple thousand. Slight difference. And those are evolving numbers. I'm not saying that the numbers weren't true when Leo said them, because they were true when Leo said them. I'm sure that they were true. These were just later in time that 23,700. So there we go. I mean, I guess this is the end of the Game On talk. This officially ends the Game On talk. I don't know how much Brian and Veronica want to talk about Game On. I don't know how much Chad wants to talk about Game On. I know Leo is certainly through talking about Game On because he has, and I think unfairly at times, been painted as kind of the bad guy in this. And he's not the bad guy. He's the good guy. He's the guy who gave it a shot. And I think there were some financial realities that kind of took them by surprise, and all of a sudden there wasn't enough money in the cupboard to make our sauce. So he's not the bad guy. Leo's not the bad guy. So we move on. We move onward and we move upward. Let's talk about something else. Let's talk about, I don't know if you guys read, but by the way, Brian's Scam School book, Brian Brushwood, of course, my co-host on NSFW, his Scam School book is doing fantastic. It's gigantic. Vook, the platform that he built this on, has used him as the poster boy for their entire operation because he's been such a success. He's kind of been the evangelizer for the Vuk platform by way of example. He had a gigantic out-of-the-box success. Scam School Book 1 is the future of instructional books, like I've said a million times. So part of this process of being the poster boy for Vuk, and I don't know if this was set up through Vuk or if this was just Brian getting out there on his own hustle, but I know that both are happening. He was interviewed by the Huffington Post Books. Her name, I believe, is Vanessa Becknell, which was a very good interview, and everybody should go read it. But what I found funny is that it veers weirdly into politics in what is otherwise a kind of interview either for book lovers or for book creators. He starts asking him about being a libertarian, being a self-identified libertarian, and what he thinks of the candidates, presumably Barack Obama and Mitt Romney, and we will get to why it is Mitt Romney and not Mitt Romney and possibly Rick Santorum later in the show when we talk about our political horse race bets. But Brian was asked what he thought of this upcoming election, and he said the following. I will read this verbatim. Voting third party is the best, most restart. Voting third party is the best, most liberating decision I've ever made. At some point, I just realized that when you vote for the lesser of two evils, you're still voting for evil. Voting third party means you have a clear conscience. Also, think about this. When you vote for the Crips or the Bloods, the Democrats or Republicans, your vote is virtually meaningless. Your vote is lost in the cacophony of a million other voices. But when you vote for a third party, any third party, your percentage is as a percentage, your vote is 1,000, maybe 10,000 times more important. Your voice really matters. Now, this is hard to argue, and I'm not going to argue it because it's very well said. I think there are arguments to be made on why, even if you have third-party leanings, you would vote for a Democrat or a Republican. And I certainly have an argument for why I don't vote third party. But I don't want to talk about voting today. I want to talk about something that has been in my mind for a very, very, very long time. And it's usually a fairly unpopular opinion with people. And this might be, folks, you listening to me right now on Jury Friday. This is Friday the 13th in April. We have an election this November. What I'm about to tell you right now will be less popular tomorrow and every day past tomorrow until November. In December, I might be able to say it because everybody will be kind of burnt out by it. But it's only going to get less popular the further we go on. This is the most popular it could possibly be. Maybe if I would have said it 2 years ago, it would have been more popular than that. But this is it. I kind of feel like this is the cutoff. Because at this point, everybody gets weaponized. And we've talked about this on past episodes. But politics is all about getting you into a room to press somebody's button. And from this point forward, especially now that we have our two, we know who it's going to be. We know who's entering Thunderdome. It all becomes a numbers game. Who can talk the most people into voting? Which I believe is unpatriotic. Yes, my friends. I believe you telling someone to vote who doesn't want to vote, or you guilting someone into vote by saying, well, if you don't vote, you can't bitch. I think it's unpatriotic. I think it does not serve the country. I think it is harmful to the moral and intellectual fabric of our country and our position as a global leader. Here's why. I'm not worried about voter turnout. And in fact, I think anybody who tells you to worry about voter turnout, that you need to vote no matter what, you just need to make a decision, is really telling you that's a lie. What they are telling you is a lie. What they are really telling you is vote for my candidate. So no matter what they are, if they are a Republican-leaning voter, if they are a third-party-leaning voter, if they are a Democrat-leaning voter. If they say, listen, man, you just got to get out there and vote. You got to get your voice heard. What they're really saying is, vote for my candidate because I want my candidate to win. And that's fine if you just say that. If you say, I want my candidate to win, allow me a chance to talk you into my candidate. That's a fair and open, honest discussion. If you say you need to vote no matter what, then you're lying. You're a liar. You would prefer they not vote than vote for the opponent. Because you want your guy to win. If you want a guy to win, then you don't want him not to win. That would be a logical fallacy. So when MTV does these big drives, you have to question it. I think anybody who does get out the vote drives, you need to question it. I think churches that do get out the vote drives, you need to understand that they want candidates that serve their interest in there. I think MTV wants candidates that serve their interest in there, and they want demographics that are historically favorable to candidates they like to get out there and vote. It's just that simple. And if you don't, if you don't understand that, and you don't see the fact, if you don't look at every political machination by anybody, when anybody talks about voting as just that simple cattle herding strategy, that's all politics is. Make sure that the cows get into the booth and stomp on the right ticket. That's it. Low voter turnout is not a problem. It really isn't. You know who has high voter turnouts? Dictatorships. When Saddam Hussein was in Iraq, he had voter turnouts that were like 99.9%. And he would win with 89% of the vote. You know? Think about it like this. If we have a very low voter turnout, but everybody who voted was very, very educated, is a weird word. Oh, and by the way, Tranquil Vision and Jay Thatcher 78 says they would behead the remaining 11. No, I mean, even dictators have an element of theater to them, and they kind of always want to seem like the underdog on some level, even if they're absolutely in power. If everybody who voted really cared about it, if nobody who voted was just voting because somebody was hassling them, I think we'd have better elections. I think we might have even incrementally better presidents. And I think if we had better leadership and better presidents, then our nation's better. And to dilute our voting, body, to dilute the voting body, people don't care. I have a hard time seeing how that's great. If people don't want to vote, then don't vote. You don't need to. And you're not bad for not voting, by the way. I might not vote this year, just as a symbol to this. I don't know. I think it'd be pretty cool. I think not voting. You know what? Don't vote. That's my call. My Jury Friday clarion call is don't vote. I challenge you to not vote. If you don't care, then be a patriotic American and sit home. And bitch. People say, oh, if you don't vote, you can't bitch. Bitch too. Of course you can bitch. That's why we have a First Amendment. First Amendment doesn't say only vote. And then free speech. That's free speech. Do whatever you want. Scream and yell. Get on Justin TV. Get in Man vs. Game chat room and scream and yell all you want. And bitch about anything. Doesn't matter. We live in a beautiful society where you can do that. You don't need to vote to do that. You can bitch about anything. Be a patriotic American. If you don't care, don't vote. One care, one vote. No cares, no vote. And don't worry about it. All right, let's take a break. We got all sorts of stuff coming up, including a couple new podcasts that are going to be coming up in the next few weeks. This is Jury Friday.
she swings her arms instead of her hips. When she talks, she moves her mouth instead of her lips. And I've waited for her for so long. I've waited for her for so long. I wonder if I could hang on. I wonder if I could hang on. Yeah, let me go, she said. Let me go, she said. Let me go, and I will want you more. Let me go, let me go, let me go, and I will want you. When she wants the sun instead of the moon. When she sees the stars inside of her room. And I've waited for her for so long. I've waited for her for so long. I've wondered if I could hang on. I wonder if I could hang on. Let me go, she said. Let me go, she said. Let me go, and I will want you more. Let me go, she said. Let me go, let me go, and I will want you.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Jury Friday. I can't type in the chat room right now because Justin TV is being absolutely ridiculous, but I saw somebody in the chat room while we were in the Cake song. By the way, that was Let Me Go by Cake. And the song at the beginning, which I really like, is Love Astronaut by Murder Mystery. But I heard somebody in the chat room say that Scott F. Dog Johnson was upset because he wasn't in the montage for the last episode of Game On. I didn't even do the montage. In fact, I was lied to and told that the montage wasn't done in time for the episode. So the montage was a surprise to me. If it were up to me, Scott would absolutely be in it, but Scott wasn't in it, and I have no idea. Blame Chad. If you want to blame somebody, blame Chad. Chad is the guy who edited it, but I think, understand, everybody was obviously under a lot of pressure to get that done. Also, for those, I guess really, even if you're not watching live, you're watching this on Justin TV. Somebody asked me in the chat room to give a shot of the setup, so I'm on a MacBook Pro's Heil PR40 mic that was thankfully donated by Mr. Heil himself, the host of Ham Radio or Ham Nation. And this is the whole backdrop setup. This is my room. This is where I live in South Florida. All right, real quick, we have a few business things to talk about. Number one, Weird Things Weekly is going on. I promised you guys Weird Things Weekly, and boy, hopefully we started a good tradition. This week we have a new episode out. On Mondays we're recording them. On Tuesdays they will go live. We are going to try and keep that as regular as possible, including with guest hosts. So Andrew is actually going to be in Italy coming up beginning next week, and he won't be here for the next Magic Week in Review. We're recording the Magic Week in Review today. But he won't be here for the next Weird Things, and we're going to get a guest host. So, or not, he might be there for the next one, the one after that. Sorry. It's the, oh, God, I need more butter toffee. Oh, come here, butter toffee. Oh, come on, man. Let me get a little bit. Oh, that's good. Oh, God, a little bit more. A little bit more. Hold on. All right. Now let's fire it up. Here we go. Let's break it down, flip it, and reverse it. Guest host. So in 2 weeks, I think we're going to need a Weird Things guest host. I don't know who it's going to be. We haven't talked to anybody, but who would you guys like to see? Let me know in the chat room. And you know, my initial instinct would be a Merritt or a Scott Johnson, maybe an Amtrekker. We'll see. We'll see. But let me know if you guys have any really cool ideas. That would be interesting. Also, last night, if you followed me on this Justin TV channel, then you get a email alert or a text alert, or your app goes beep whenever I go live. I don't know if it actually goes beep, but I really want to set that as a sound. Why can't that be a sound? I want an app that just goes beep. Last night I was on here, on the Justin TV, reading a short story that was written by Andrew Mayne called The Prowler. It's going to be part of a new podcast that I talked about last week, where I read an Andrew Mayne short story, and then Andrew talks about whatever Andrew wants to talk about on either side of it. So we'll kind of introduce it as if he's Alfred Hitchcock. Good evening. And then he'll talk about the story itself, what he liked about the story, what he was thinking about, what's inspiring him right now, and what he's working on. And also it'll give a chance for people who like Andrew's work to kind of stay in touch with Andrew's fiction work. So yeah, Gigaloop says the Andrew Mayne Storytime Hour, that will be the case. That is actually going to happen. So I recorded that last night. Hopefully that will be up and ready to go sometime soon. Hopefully before he goes to Italy. I would like it for me before he goes to Italy, but possibly not. Possibly after that. If not, keep on this Justin TV channel. I'm going to record a bunch of stuff for Andrew coming up. Now, I talked about 3 things last week because it was after Game On got canceled, and the question was, what's coming up next? And I said there are 3 things I wanted to do immediately. I want to do Weird Things Weekly. Done. Or at least beginning to be done. Starting to be done. Committed to be done. Betrothed to be done. The Andrew Mayne Storytime Hour. In production. Ready to go. The third one was a general interest podcast. I want to do a one mic general interest podcast. Which you might be saying, Justin, you are right now doing a one mic general interest podcast. What would be different than what you're doing here? And the answer is not a whole lot. A little bit. I wanted to do a show that basically went over the news of the week, and were either fresh angles on stories you had heard a lot about, or stories you hadn't heard a whole lot about. That would be, by their very nature, fresh angles. And I think I want to record the beta version this weekend. And I think I have a name. I don't know if this is an FLS Cartage in the chat room. Says, Justin, you are right now doing a one mic general interest podcast. I think I have a name for it. I think I'm going to record it Sundays. And I think you would listen to it Monday. And the idea would be, like I try to do here, whenever there's a big story out there, I don't want to talk about it like everybody else has talked about it. I want to think about it the way I would a newspaper editor. You know, a newspaper editor looks at a trend and says, well, how has it not been covered before? And I would like to do that. I would like to continue to do it. And so here's the name. Tell me if you want, tell me if you've heard of this as a podcast before. Has the podcast Too Long Didn't Read been a podcast before? Because I really like that, especially as a review, a week in review show. Because basically you're saying, yeah, TLDR. And also it fits into the brand of me only doing podcasts with initials that are internet initials, TLDR. So I have NSFW, I have TLDR. Prillo does a live stream called TLDR, and IGM has a TLDR podcast. Teal Deer. Maybe I'll call it the Teal Deer. maybe I'll take out the contraction and make it too long, or TLDNR. Too long did not read. Not didn't. We don't use our contractions here. The teal deer is lovely, says Gigaloop. Well, because here's the interesting part. If a lot of people have done it, then I'm not ripping off one person. If no one's done it, then it'd be fresh. It doesn't seem like it's fresh. Too late, did not resuscitate. Man, people really seem to like this teal deer thing. Which I really like. I think that would be an amazing mascot if it was just the teal deer. Let's see. I mean, is the TL is Prillo or IGN still doing it? Would be the initial question. That would be the big thing there. So figure that out, and I think I'm going to record it this weekend anyway. You know what? I'm just going to rock and roll with that. I'm just gonna kick it, man. I'm going to kick it like a soccer player would kick something with his feet. IGN has a call for new co-hosts on March 6, 2012. The IGN thing is done once a month and is the most recent thing they were looking for a co-host. And now people are sending me pictures of teal deers, and that's a really amazing teal deer. Oh my god, I don't have my cam twist hooked up, but I just gotta show the live stream people. That is such a teal deer. Look at him! He's just tealing around. How great is that? That's amazing. All right, so there we go. That's that. I think I'm going to do it this week. Basically, it's going to be going through Monday through Sunday. What were the biggest stories of the week? Other stories you did hear of and didn't hear of. And this would also have an interview component where, for one or two of the stories, I'd either bring on somebody that I like talking to do it, or I would bring on a friend of mine who knows a lot about the subject to talk about it kind of more in depth. It will be probably live streamed, and certainly recorded, and certainly podcast. Jury Friday, I don't think would go anywhere. I really like doing Jury Friday. It might get a little looser. I might talk a little bit less news on here, but the goal of Jury Friday was to have a direct connection with you guys, and to be able to, in the same way that I think it's great for Andrew to have a podcast where people just hear about his fiction stuff. I think that there's a lot of stuff. I mean, I just do so much crap that, like, I always feel hard. It feels weird to sort of just work it into talking about it on NSFW or Weird Things or whatever. And you got to balance because Andrew's doing a million things and Brian's doing a million things. This way I can just talk directly to you, saving you time, money, and hassle. So there we go. Too long, didn't read. Hopefully coming to you in beta form this week. The teal deer. The teal deer. All right. I'll be right back. This is Harvey Danger. We're going to talk about the summer movie draft coming up in a second. Be right back.
Trying
welcome back, ladies and germs, to Jerry Friday. That was Harvey Danger. Ladies love Cool James. Well, it's called Cool James, but it's in reference to LL Cool J, who, of course, ladies love. That's why he has the name. Double L up front, like LL Cool L. Summer movie draft, folks. It's here. And now, I'll tell you this. Like I said up at the top of the show, we will know this week whether or not Scott Johnson's done. He could be kaput. He could be over. He could be finado, because we are both screwed, me and Scott, in different ways. But we're both screwed. Make no mistake about it. He might be sitting up top right now, but he should be sweating bullets. Because Hunger Games made about $300 million, and that's huge. That's a big deal. He spent a lot of money on that, and we'll get a little bit more into it. Real quick, people in the chat room have been going nuts. Chat realm is completely doing a backflip over this TLDR idea, including my favorite phrase. I don't know if it was said this way, but this is how I read it, which is, of course, TLDR ain't nothing but bucks and does, which I love. What you know about a show about bucks and does? TLDR? Yeah, so that's the name. I mean, even if somebody is doing it, then it's going to be TLDR, and we're going to call it the TLDR. But let's talk about the summer movie draft. 2 movies opening this week. Cabin in the Woods, penned by one Joss Whedon, who could wind up coming out. If this is a hit, if this is a surprise hit, if it makes money, he's got this and Avengers, this could be the summer of Whedon. Could very much be the summer of Whedon. That'd be pretty cool. I think there'd be a lot of people on the internet specifically that'd be pretty friggin' pumped if Joss Whedon was all of a sudden a super hot movie commodity, because we would get a lot more stuff that has the Whedon stamp on it. And Three Stooges comes out. That's owned by Scott. I've kind of secretly harbored this fear, not because I want the movie to fail or I don't think it's going to be good, but I've harbored a fear because Scott Johnson owns it, that the Three Stooges would be a breakout hit. I've worried, because everybody knows the Three Stooges, and everybody knows what the Three Stooges are, and for whatever this movie is, it looks like what people remember the Three Stooges as. A bunch of people hitting each other. You know? So I was heartened to read today that it's at 45% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is not a surprise. I would be shocked if it was any higher, actually. Or if it was at 60, 70. Because that would mean that it was actually a competent comedy. Comedies very rarely, unless they're kind of underdog comedies like, let's say, a Bridesmaids or something like that, rarely kind of get a fair shake. You know, and especially stupid comedies, which I personally very much like, stupid comedies, and I always have, including the Farrelly brothers. But horror and comedy like that usually get a short shrift. You have to kind of grade it on a Rotten Tomatoes curve. Like horror movies. Horror movies you can grade on a 15% curve. Comic book movies too. Except unless it's The Dark Knight. You grade it on a 15, maybe less, maybe like a 10% Rotten Tomatoes curve. If you have taste like me, that's what I do. If you have taste that is similar to mine, I suggest you do it as well, because you would have a better guess at how you will enjoy the film. Because movie critics hate horror movies, and by and large, they don't like dumb comedies, and by and large, they don't like comic book flicks. So, here's the question. Veronica easily has the most precarious position in this entire draft because she doesn't have a tent pole, as they say in the industry. She doesn't have a surefire absolute cash cow. She's going to need one of these to hit big, and she needs Cabin in the Woods to do over $100 million, which is a long shot. It's Drew Goddard, the man who directed Cloverfield, and he co-wrote the script along with Joss Whedon. It's going to get a lot of internet buzz, but internet buzz doesn't necessarily translate into real-world box office dollars. Just ask Snakes on a Plane. That's it! I'm tired of these motherfucking empty theater seats. Three Stooges, however, yeah, that's another one that's got to do 100. It's got to do 100 for Scott because he spent $60 out of his 100. He spent 60% of his money on Hunger Games. He needs $800 million to stay in the game here. And Hunger Games is going to top out at like $350 maybe at max. $375. Probably won't get to $400. And then when that's the case, you know, he won't even get halfway to where he needs to go, and he spent 60% of his money on it. He's got to have a surprise hit in Three Stooges. I do not think that either will get to $100 million. I could be wrong, and obviously I'm biased because I'm in a contest against them. But I think that that's not going to happen. We will see, though. We will see. A lot of people now, as more movies come out, are having their own movies, start to release, and we will see how that affects the summer movie draft. Let's take a real quick look. I don't want to step on the toes of Roberto Villegas, but we're going to start to see some separation here, especially this week. If I'm going to take a wild guess, I say Three Stooges is the #1 movie of the week. I say it makes $35 million. And I think Cabin in the Woods, as good as it is, and believe you me, don't get me wrong, I think Cabin in the Woods could be the best movie of the summer. I think it's got as good of a shot as anything to be better than anything else this summer. Could be. It's got the pedigree. It's got a great concept. Critics seem to love it. But I just don't think it's going to make a dime. I don't think it's going to make anything. I think it's going to make 5 cents at a ball of pocket lint. If it makes over $20 million, I'll be blown away. I'll be blown away. Join me again next week when we see if it made over $20 million. Because I'm saying it's not. I will bet money that it is not going to make $20 million this week, full stop. Join me again next week, and we'll see if I'm wrong. I might be, but I don't think I am. All right. Well, you want to know what? Let's get into the horse race. Let's talk betting. Oops. Stop. Jesus Christ. What a technical cock up this entire episode has been. It's been nothing but me fucking up technically. Dean Martin, what do you say we talk about politics?
A gal is like a racehorse, I play her to win. But if I should lose her, another may come in. Oh, love can be like
Campbell. Love can be a joke. I'm Fat Rick Santorum, and now my campaign's broke. I got out of the campaign, not running anymore. Rick Santorum's out. He's done. He's finished. He's over. He's yesterday's news. Suspends his campaign, and that officially makes it a mano-a-mano kind of thing between Romney and Obama, despite the fact that we still have 2 candidates in. I think last week I described Rick Santorum's campaign as the guy who was sitting in the diner after all the waitstaff had put up the seats and flicked the lights and just really did everything to kind of give him the soft hints that maybe he should leave, and he eventually settled up his tab and walked out of the diner, which settles our first bet. Now, of course, let me do my political horse race preamble. What follows is not a partisan thing. I think all politicians are lizards. What I do like is the process of politics. I like the horse race of who's going to win, who's in the lead, who needs to make up ground, why they're losing, why they're winning, and betting on it. I love betting on it. So we had one bet, and this is one from the very first Jury Friday. Who drops out first, Newt Gingrich or Rick Santorum? And boom! Fat Rick, baby. Fat Rick Santorum got out first. Newt, who's right now man, he just needs to put on a clown suit and start spraying seltzer in people's faces and climb into a car with about 14 of his friends. It's just getting ridiculous. Now he's fighting with Fox News. Now Fox News is like, well, because if you didn't catch this, Newt Gingrich comes out yesterday and says, you know, I think Fox News has been for Romney the entire time. You know who's been fair? CNN. CNN's been fair. Yeah, that's who I like. CNN, not Fox. By the way, Newt Gingrich used to have a contract to talk on Fox exclusively. So Fox News comes out. And by the way, Fox News has had quite a week internally. If you read about the Gawker Fox mole, dude who used to work as a associate producer on the O'Reilly Factor, wound up taking $5,000 to write for Gawker. And you got found out like instantly. He was like, ooh, I'm the Fox Mole. No one knows who I am. I'm leaking stuff to Gawker because I'm the Fox Mole. And then like 12 hours later, Fox News is like, oh, we found him. We'll be dealing with him shortly. And he goes back on Gawker and says, ooh, they might have found somebody, but they didn't find me, man, because I'm the Fox Mole. Ooh. No one's around. I'm sneaking around. Fox News in Manhattan. Oh, look, is that Bill O'Reilly's garter belt? Let me take a picture. Oh, Fox Mole. Ooh, is that Sean Hannity's wig? Fox Mole. Yo, what's up? Is that Greta Van Sussen's retainer? Fox Mole. What you know about the Fox Mole? And then he got found out instantly. He was like, and then like as soon as like he said like, oh yeah, they haven't found me, then he gets called in and he gets suspended without pay and he gets fired. So they came out and just kind of, and I'm sure they will publicly execute this guy at Fox News. And then they come out with Gingrich and say, yeah, Gingrich is just out there trying to show for CNN because CNN's going to give him a big fat contract to talk. So, you know, there's that. Which means, of course, we need more bets. We have new to Rick, so we need more bets. Here are the bets for this week. Will Alan West say the word communist again this week? Will Alan West say the word communist again this week? For those of you who don't know about this story, Alan West is a representative from the fine region of South Florida. I am fascinated by the person that is Alan West. I don't know if him saying that there are card-carrying members of the Communist Party in the Congress is, you know, the best thing to say, but I like the idea of Alan West. He's a war hero. I find him to be an entertaining person. He's not exactly aligned with where I am politically, but I mean, very few people are. But I have a soft spot in my heart for Alan West. He's not my representative. I believe my representative is the Democratic heavyweight, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, because she was the one I had to call for the SOPA stuff. But there we go. Will Alan West say the word communist again this week? And I will leave it up to you guys. I will leave it up to the Jury Friday faithful to point me out on Twitter at Justin Robert Young. If I miss it, point out if and when he says the word communist. You know, he's going to be on TV, I'm sure. He's going to be releasing statements. All of them do. So does he say the word communist again this week? And Call Me DJ M says, what if he says socialist? No, not socialist. Communist. Communist. Because that was the key. He said card-carrying members of the Communist Party. I didn't even know they still made cards for the Communist Party. I guess they do. Congratulations, you are part of Communist Party. Here's your card. And then the other bet. We have one more bet. Will Santorum endorse Mitt Romney this week? Okay? So what you're betting on, and by the way, for the Alan West thing, I say no. I say he does not say it. Will Santorum endorse Mitt Romney this week? And this one will roll over every week until it is true. Eventually, Rick Santorum will endorse Mitt Romney. That will happen. That's not an if, that's a when. The reason why, and he might do it soon, because he is in debt. He needs money. The reason why Hillary Clinton endorsed Barack Obama, she eventually would have endorsed Barack Obama. But there are various ways to endorse Barack Obama. And to endorse Barack Obama the best possible way, and I believe, if I am not mistaken, they met together at a campaign event in Unity, New Hampshire in 2008. And the reason why that happened is because Obama helped pay down her campaign debt. And that's what's going to happen here, is Mitt Romney will help pay down Rick Santorum's campaign debt, so Santorum will do the Mitt Romney shuffle. My name's Fat Rick. I ain't here to cause trouble. I'm just here to do the Romney shuffle. That's what's going to happen. And eventually that will happen. I don't know if it's going to be this week. In fact, for this bet, I will say no. I will say that it is a no. It is not going to happen. But next week after that, maybe. So those are your bets this week. Will Allen West say the word communist again this week? I say no. Will Santorum endorse Mitt Romney this week? I say no. I think both have a chance to happen. But we shall see. Mitsula says, so all it takes is money to make friends in politics. News to me. And then, of course, all right, let's see if we can update the vice presidential race odds. You know, Rand Paul got caught up in a little sauce this week, so I'm going to downgrade his odds to 4-1. Nikki Haley's star is kind of cooled. Apparently, she said on TV, somebody emailed me, Twitter @replied me and said, you know, Nikki Haley said that she wouldn't be vice president if Mitt Romney asked her. Which, let me give you my interpretation, and this might be wrong, but I can only say from what I see. When somebody says no, I will not be vice president, what they mean is maybe. When people say yes, I would be vice president, they're saying, yes, please, I will do it. Yes. Can you, hello? Yes, please. When they say maybe, they mean yes. So it's no means yes, maybe means no. No means maybe. Maybe means yes, and yes means please return my phone calls. I've been calling you about being vice president. So if Nikki Haley says no, what she really means is maybe. It's hard to say no. It's like King Robert Baratheon coming to Winterfell and asking Eddard Stark to be the hand of the king. Didn't want to do it. Kind of had to do it. Hard to say no to the king. I think I said Rand Paul got caught in stuff. He didn't. Paul Ryan did. Rand Paul, I still think I'm going to keep his odds at 3-1. Nikki Haley, I'm going to bump her odds up to 5-1. Paul Ryan, I'm going to bump his odds down to 3-1. Marco Rubio, I'm going to hold steady at 5-1, and Bobby Jindal, I'm going to hold steady at 10-1. Call me DJM. Is there a no? No is not talking about it. The way that you say no is you get out of the political limelight and you lay low. Nobody does this by accident. When reporters ask candidates about being the vice president, 9 times out of 10 it's planted. It's just everybody wants to be seen as if they would be the vice president. You know? Jay Thatcher 78, is Jindal that popular for this? Well, you know, a vice president is somebody who can help make up for what the president doesn't have. And we'll get to that. All right, one more political note. Former RIAA chairwoman Hillary Rosen started a real big firestorm this week, and I think it's very, very bad. And this, this is it. We're now officially into the main event. It's on. It's on like Donkey Kong, and you know it's on when something like what Hillary Rosen said becomes as big as it did. And believe you me, what she said was extraordinarily dumb. The one thing that they couldn't do, that the Democrats did not want to do, the Barack Obama campaign did not want to do, is make Ann Romney a public figure because she's very sympathetic, because she has gone through a lot of medical things. She's good looking, she's relatable, and she's suffered through MS and cancer. And Hillary Rosen, who again, let me remind you people, and for anybody who wants to defend Hillary Rosen was the RIAA chairwoman when the RIAA was at its worst, in the Napster era, in the late 90s. She's just another stinking lawyer. And, I think she kicked up a real big poop storm, and it's not going to be well served by the Obama campaign so far. And the Obama campaign has not had a lot of really good stuff to jump up and down about. Things have not gone particularly well for them over the last couple of weeks. They need something. They need something to go their way. They need something, because if they keep having weeks like this, they're going to start piling up. All right, we have They Might Be Giants. Then we'll come back and we'll do rapid fire, and that'll be it. This is Jury Friday. These are They Might Be Giants.
Where was I forgot the point that I was making. I said if I was smart that I would save up for a piece of string and a rock to wind the string around. Everybody wants a rock to wind a piece of string around. Everybody wants a rock to wind a piece of string around. Throw the crib door wide, let the people crawl inside. Someone in this town is trying to burn the playhouse down. They want to stop the ones who want a rock to wind a string around. But everybody wants a rock to wind a piece of string around. Throw the crib door wide, let the people crawl inside. Someone in this town is trying to burn the playhouse down. They want to stop the ones who want a rock to wind a string around. But everybody wants a rock to wind a piece of string around. If I were a carpenter, I'd hammer on my piglet. I'd collect the $7 and I'd buy a big prosthetic forehead and wear it on my real head. Everybody wants prosthetic foreheads on their real heads. Everybody wants prosthetic foreheads on their real heads. Throw the crib door wide, let the people crawl inside. Someone in this town is trying to burn the playhouse down. They want to stop the ones who want prosthetic foreheads on their heads. But everybody wants prosthetic foreheads on their real heads. Throw the crib door wide, let the people crawl inside. Someone in this town is trying to burn the foreheads down. They want to stop the ones who want a rock to wind a string around. But everybody wants a rock to wind a piece of string around.
That was They Might Be Giants, which are the best. Coming in on Twitter from Romanesco, as retweeted by my good friend and former Daily Orange news editor Steve Kovac. The Fox Mole can take credit for 1 million 887,645 Gawker page views. Make no mistake, my friends, this is the reason why Gawker hired former Deadspin editor A.J. Delorio, the guy who had the pictures of Brett Favre's dog, who was just a dogged muckraker at Deadspin. That's the reason why he's at Gawker. The reason why he's there is so we can pull stuff like this. All right, folks, we're gonna wrap things up here after a little rapid fire. Here's how it works. I'm gonna play a song. In fact, I'm gonna start playing it right now. And then you guys are going to ask either or questions in the chat room. I will answer all of them to the best of my ability and as fast as possible. Get them going right now. And here we go. Of course, always as narrated by the Bad Plus and their song, And Here We Test Our Powers of Recognition. Red or blue, blue. Sword or laser, laser. I've always liked sci-fi more than I did fantasy. Chatcraft or Twitcraft? I mean, I'm always a Chatcraft guy. I'm always going to be a Chatcraft guy. Friday or Sunday? Friday. Teal deer or chartreuse moose? Teal deer. Teal deer ain't nothing but bucks and does. Inspector Deck versus Ghostface Killer. Ghostface, come on, baby. Tony Stark. Coal versus charcoal. Coal. Fisher or Shatner? I love Fisher. I saw Fisher live at the Star Wars Celebration. She was amazing. She is an awesome human being. But Shatner's done more. Gotta go with Shatner. Joffrey or Cersei? God, I'll tell you what. I am in love. I caught up on Game of Thrones. I am in love with the kid who plays Joffrey. He is such an amazing, awesome little shit. You just want to punch him right in the face. He's great. Wet or dry? Dry. Bucks or does? Man, you ain't... What you know about these does? Gotta love them does. We love them does. Of course, folks, rapid fire. It's not rapid fire unless I keep getting either or questions. Oh, wow, it just updated real quick. Baby powder or baby wines? Baby powder. Kirk or Picard? Picard. Diamond Club t-shirts. Who are we kidding? You don't have any other t-shirts? No, I wear what's free. So, Keith Apicary or Dolph Ziggler? I think we're going to have to go with Dolph Ziggler. Hype Man or Gumshoe? Hype Man is more fun. But Gumshoe is more of a ridiculous reference, which I do enjoy. Japan or China? I'm going to go with Japan. I think I'd like to go to Japan before I'd like to go to China. Gummy bears or gummy worms? I like the bears. I like the freeze gummy bears. So they're little nodules of amazingness. And they just slowly melt in your mouth. It's the best thing ever. Pepsi or Coke? Coke. Cake or death? Well, we're out of cake. We only had 3 bits and we weren't expecting such a rush. So my choices are or death. No. Cake, of course. Night or day? Night. Belmont or Mun? Belmont, come on. Please, my girl. Shania Twain or Faith Hill? Faith Hill. Benz or Steelers? Right now, it's all about the P-E-N-S. Suck it. Stallone or Schwarzenegger? Schwarzenegger. Tennant or Smith? Tennant. Crosby or Malkin? Gino. Gino's always been my dude. Leo or Laporte? Laporte. Shock Tarts or Sweet Tarts? Sweet Tarts. Doctor Who or Torchwood? Doctor Who. Xbox or PS3? Xbox. Shirt or shoes? Shirt. Game of Thrones or Lord of the Rings? Right now, Game of Thrones. Cat or dog? Dog. PC or console? PC. Analog clock or digital clock? Digital clock. Short spiked hair or no spikes? I like the no spikes, to be honest with you. African or European? European. Penn or Teller? Teller. Avengers or Spider-Man? Spider-Man. Trek or Wars? Wars. Morgan Webb or Adam Sessler? Morgan Webb, because he was in the last episode of Game On. Nokia or Samsung? Nokia. Conrad or Tijuana Jackson? Tijuana Jackson. Brillo or Piccolo? Brillo. Justin or Robert? Justin. Adam Savage or Adam Sessler? Adam Savage. iOS or Android? I'm an iOS guy till I die. Tijuana Jackson or Romney Malco? Tijuana Jackson. Pie as in 3.14 or pie as in apple or cream. I will say pie as in apple or cream. Boodle or Deedle? I prefer do overall, but if I'm going to have to take a choice, Boodle would be what it would be. Eat or pie? Pie as in P-I 3.14 64. Android or Windows Phone 7, Android. Pixie Sticks or Sweet Tarts, Pixie Sticks. Dreamcast or N64. I was in love with an N64. I've loved my N64 more than I've probably loved any girlfriend I've ever had. It was the best friend that I could possibly ask for. It was the launching point of everything I could ever want. Real quick, big finish, folks. Sonic or Knuckles Sonic, Commodore 64 or TRS-80, Commodore 64, especially since the founder or the creator just died, Piracy or DRM. I like to pay for things. I'm not in love with DRM, but I'm not in love with piracy. I'll say I'm on the side of paying for things. Juggling or jiggling, juggling. Doom or Quake, Quake. Rumble Pack or non-Rumble Pack, Rumble Pack. Oh, God, you had to rumble it. Madden or Tecmo, Madden Warehouse 13 or Eureka, neither, to be honest with you, but if I had to choose one, Eureka. Waffles or pancakes, pancakes. And that brings us to the end, ladies and gentlemen, of Jury Friday the 13th. Thank you very much for joining us. When the history books are written about this day, they will say it was the day that the teal deer was born. Thank you for being a part of it. If you like this, then subscribe to the Justin TV channel. I'll be back every single Friday. And hopefully more news. More news coming up. Could be big news coming up. We'll see. Until next time, my friends, my name is Justin Robert Young. Please don't die between now and next week.